Nathan Graves, 989, interviewer and spokesman for the Abridged community.
Take a message to your master for me. Tell him the Black Swordsman has come.
Hbi2k.
Hey guys, this is Nathan Graves, 989, and I'm here with the creator of Berserk Abridged, Hbi2k. HBI, thank you for your time.
Not at all.
Alright, my first question is, what inspired you to make an Abridged series?
Well, at the time I was considering trying to write a novel, but I quickly came to the conclusion that long form writing is something that I just don't have the patience for. So I wanted to try and find a outlet to try and practice my writing in small chunks over a long period of time, rather than trying to focus on one very long work.
Why Berserk is that exactly?
Well, my decision process when I was choosing an anime was pretty simple. I looked at my DVD rack to see what I already had the full series of so that I wouldn't have to shell out any extra money on DVDs. So that narrowed it down to Bebop, Big O, Escaflowne, and Berserk. And of those, Bebop and Big O I thought were a bit too episodic. I think animated series, or Abridged series rather, tend to work better when there's a overarching storyline that you can follow. Escaflowne I was very tempted by, but there are so many girl voices in that show, and I pretty much just have the one girl voice, which sucks. So that narrowed it down to Berserk.
What's the process you go through to make an episode?
Well, the advantage to working solo is that I don't have to break things up into concrete, now I'm going to do my writing, now it's the recording, now it's the editing. I could pretty much do everything at once. I'd sit down in front of the video editor, load up the episode, watch it one time completely through to keep it fresh in my mind, and then I'd just start. Oftentimes I'd have some ideas, but I'd very, very seldom actually have a script written out in advance. If I ever hit a block, then I'd just stop what I was doing and just start playing the original episode again from there until I got another idea, and I'd just take it that way. And once I got to 4 or 5 minutes, or to the end of the episode, then that's where I'd end it.
How do you come up with your jokes?
Well, like I said, some of them I had ideas for from the beginning, or nearly the beginning, such as the whole which one was it? The Casca and Guts conversation when they're in the cave and they're talking about their sordid pasts. That whole thing was pretty much written from the beginning. Others would be just kind of spur of the moment, like, holy crap, here's a whole scene here. I can't cut it out or I'm going to come up too short. What can I think of on the fly? Type of thing.
Who's your favorite character to voice in the show?
That would be Guts. Easily Guts. Because, he's just always so bored by everything that's going on. He just makes a perfect straight man for all the craziness that goes on all around him.
What about the hardest character to voice?
Well, the hardest to do and make it sound even halfway decent has got to be Casca, especially just because she has so many, later on in the series, she has so many scenes that she has to play very straight and try and get some actual emotion out of it while still doing that horrible, horrible squeaky voice that I decided on for her. But in terms of just being rough on my throat, well, that's got to be Zod, because I love the character, so I write him into a lot of stuff, but if I do this for too long, it really kills the old throat there.
Do you have a favorite joke?
A favorite joke? That's a tough one. I think that would have to go back to Guts and Casca in the cave. The whole yeah, you can take your self-righteousness and just shove it up your ass. I can guarantee it'll be better than what happened to mine. Because that's just something that he should have said in that scene. Because she goes on and on complaining about how horrible her life was. Just like, dude, the guy got raped in the ass as a kid. You can't beat that in terms of bad things happening to you.
Were there any jokes that you regretted or you didn't find all that funny?
Yeah, actually, when I renamed Count Julius, or Urius, depending on the translation, as the Earl of Douchebag, I just threw it in as a spur of the moment. He's got to have a line here, but I can't think of anything funny, so I'll just toss this in. Maybe it'll work. And I immediately regretted it and kind of tried to retcon it later when I tried to say, oh, that's just his brother's nickname for him. His real name's still Urius. And ironically then, the DBZ Abridged movies, Vegeta and Lanny did kind of the same thing and renamed one of their characters as Douchebag. And it was great because they just had such great delivery. Douchebag! That I kind of, when I saw that, I kind of realized, wow, that's a joke that could have worked if I just stuck with it and kind of gone the extra mile instead of trying to hush it up and cover it over.
How did you meet Lanny, Masako, and Vegeta?
Oh, well, it was really Lanny first that I started talking to. He'd mentioned Berserk as something that he'd enjoyed as he was going in and deciding to make his own Abridged series, and then included that wonderful freeze frame gag in one episode, in which for just a split second on the screen you can see "Watch Berserk Abridged," which I then of course had to reciprocate. In one episode, Zod starts talking backwards, and if you record that clip and re-reverse it, he commands you to watch Yu Yu Hakusho Abridged. So that's kind of how we started kicking back and forth, and eventually we'd send messages back and forth, and then eventually get together on Skype every once in a while just to shoot the shit. And then he introduced me to Vegeta and Masako. I guess he'd already been talking to them for a while. We'd spoken a little before that, but not too terribly much. Hey, I like your show. Hey, I like your show. Great, thanks, bye.
What Abridged series are you currently watching?
Let's see here. I've got to pull up my subscriptions on YouTube here so I don't leave anybody out. Can't say enough good stuff about Kaiser Neko and his Lupin the Third Abridged. I only wish that he'd been around when I put a Lupin clip into Berserk Abridged so that I could have tried to get him to voice Lupin. Sadly, that ship has sailed. Idlet Studios, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is doing pretty good work with G Gundam. And just recently, Cheeseman Joe, one of the voices on that show, has posted an episode of Geyer, the bio-boosted abridgment, which shows some promise. Obviously, Naruto and Yu Yu Hakusho and Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged are three that I've been following for quite some time. What else have we got here? Avatar Abridged is an excellent show. Doesn't come out with new episodes nearly often enough, but I'll forgive him that. He's got some great voices and a great quick-cut editing style. Let's see here. I'm going to kick myself if I leave anybody out. Team.to.bio, with their wonderful editing. I always make sure to catch their episodes. There's another newcomer, Gahuli, who is doing a Sayuki Abridged, which I've agreed to do the voice of Hakai in, if you haven't seen that yet. She just posted her first episode. Also, the gentleman who does Avatar Abridged is also involved in that. And let's see. And Bunt Cake Hunter has also posted an episode of Vision of Escaflowne Abridged. Ironically, one of those that I had originally considered doing. His editing's still pretty rough, but and I could take or leave his voice work, to be perfectly honest. But his writing's pretty solid. I think with a little work, he's going to have a good thing going for him.
I've got a better idea. How about if we have a rematch and I beat your ass this time?
Very well, but can it wait until the next episode?
Sure, why not?